Welcome to the Yankee Cowboy Podcast, coming to you from Dallas, Texas. Here's your host, Tim Wilkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Yankee Cowboy Podcast. And we are on some new grounds and some new territory, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a new studio, live in living color, having fun recording this in a new studio. I'm joined by the co-host of co-host, Chris, joining us today. And today's topic is, without question, a great one. It is the Week 1 of the NFL recap. We had a monumental occasion of Week 1 of the NFL, as alongside with the college football situation as well, which I won't dabble too much into because this is about NFL. And at the beginning, Chris, thank you for joining me as always, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And today's topic, man, I'll be remiss and I'll be an idiot, complete idiot if I don't talk about the elephant in the room here. Obviously, in the situation that has arisen at the beginning of the NFL season was the Monday Night Football. Obviously, on the anniversary of September 11th, and it was live in MetLife, the shadows of New York City, and 4 plays into Aaron Rodgers' playing career in the New York Jets organization comes to a screeching halt, and he tears what they thought was his Achilles, and today they confirmed that injury. I believe that was yesterday they confirmed it. But, Chris, I think that changed our entire pick scenario. For the entire AFC and the entire football world. It's kind of a sad situation, but as a Patriots fan, I was actually looking forward to playing against Aaron, but that's a sad state of affairs. I'm trying to have your thoughts on the first thing there. Sorry.
Yeah, what can you say? Probably one of the biggest buildups to a player. I think, and maybe in my lifetime, I don't think the fanfare was as big for Peyton Manning, but we were young, but almost, and again, I maybe have to ask about more, a more senior football fan, but it kind of reminds me of maybe when Joe Montana went from San Francisco to Kansas City, where you have a player, even though Joe Montana is probably a little later in his career, but in the same way, I guess Aaron Rodgers. So it actually might be a pretty accurate, depiction of a Hall of Fame quarterback going from, a team where he really built his career to another franchise. But what do you say? For us,
there's a lot there, my man. Not only does it impact the Jets and their entire potential, it also impacts the Green Bay Packers. And a lot of people haven't really thought about this, but it definitely does, because if Aaron Rodgers played 70%, I think it was 75 or 70% of the playable snaps on offense, they would owe them a first-round draft pick. Now, with this injury, that drastically changes the entire trade dynamic, as well as, the future of Aaron Rodgers. This is an Achilles injury, which I think we've only seen, other than Kobe Bryant in the NBA, which, that was also later in his career as well. And that wasn't on, arguably, the biggest debate we have right now in the NFL is the argument of turf versus natural grass. Chris, I think you can agree or disagree with me on that, but that is the biggest debate that we have right now. Other than the player safety and the kicking rules that change and stuff like that.
Yeah. You look at, obviously the NFL Players Union put out a statement, saying that they want all 30 or all 32 teams to move, or, obviously there are teams that currently play on a grass surface, but to have the full league back playing on a grass surface. And, when it comes down to money, and these owners, are they willing to spend said money on their facilities to do that? And then the constraints of stadiums that don't have the ability to grow grass, because use Lucas Oil Stadium as an example, or the Superdome or something like that, compared to stadiums that were built with this type of technology, like the stadium in Arizona and then the new stadium in Las Vegas, on top of stadiums that currently have that
Well,
happened.
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with the owner's stance in a sense, but I do disagree with their their inability to convey a thought on this argument because they actually, with the World Cup coming to the United States, they have agreed, at least the larger stadiums in the metropolitan areas, to use grass. So I can see it. It's difficult to understand their logical argument of why not grass. If they're willing to do it for the World Cup, why aren't they willing to do it for the NFL players? Which David Bakhtiari, obviously a former teammate of Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, he was a very vocal guy on Twitter. I mean, it was a very I was kind of sad for the New York Jets fans, and that's coming from a Patriots fan, dude. Like I mean, I'm a very staunch critic of the Jets over the years, and I make them to sound like the redheaded stepchildren of the New York metropolitan area because that's who they are. The Giants are very close behind them now, but it's pretty tough. And I mean, I know we're opening this up with the Aaron Rodgers conversation because it's the elephant in the room. You got, as a fan, you have to discuss this because it impacts the entire NFL season now. And I think what we saw from Monday was the continuation of what we saw starting on Thursday Night Football, which, Chris, I'm not sure if you saw that either, but I don't know about you, but to see the Chiefs lose to arguably, over the last 25 years, the worst franchise in the NFL history, the Detroit Lions, who have done phenomenal things here in the last 2 years. They have lost barely any games coming down the stretch of last season, and they go on the road to one of the largest and loudest stadiums in the entire world and upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Phenomenal opening day game, by the way.
Yeah.
Barn burner. So,
yeah, I mean, and I know that even people were giving Mike Tirico crap because he mentioned at the end of the game about putting an asterisk next to this victory, and I guess in some ways you could I mean, maybe it wasn't the best choice of words, but you factor in obviously Travis Kelce was inactive, so the Chiefs were definitely not at full strength, but yeah, I mean, got to give credit to Dan Campbell and Jared Goff go on the road and in a hostile environment. They're getting their Super Bowl rings and stuff, and they come out there and squeak out a huge victory. I don't think that anybody was expecting. You got to give a ton of credit to the Detroit Lions, to pull out a win like that. So, that's about all you can say.
And it truly is. It was a great opening, in my opinion, of the NFL season because, I mean, arguably, the Kansas City Chiefs obviously won the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles, and you saw this on games on Sunday, which I'll talk about here in a short second. Here is you saw kind of a weird continuation of what in the NFC, which I think you'll go into length about here shortly. And what I knew about the AFC got completely flipped on its head. Okay, I'll just go into an example here. The Steelers went against the San Francisco 49ers and basically got dog walked for 4 quarters. And it was not a pretty sight. And the Pittsburgh Steelers did really well during preseason, which any NFL sports fan will say to me and agree with me on this, that the preseason is exactly that, the preseason. It does not reflect, arguably, what will happen during the regular season due to injuries, players that are playing, etc., play calling. But uniquely, I did not expect the next result that I'm about to talk about here, and that is the Brownies, okay, with their new logo at the 50-yard line, beating the living daylights out of Joe Burrow, who just got paid $235 million. Chris, I don't know about you, but do you think the man just laid down after getting that check or something? Because, I mean, that was just a... Let me just read off the story. Let me just read off the stat line of this game, okay? This is a barn burner of stupidity here. Ready for this? Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
I want you to hear this on this one, because for a guy that just got paid $235 million, okay, I want this to be really clear. 14 for 31. Okay, 14 completions for 31 attempts. So
Yep.
basically sitting at 50%. And threw for a grand spanking total
80
of
something yards.
82 damn yards.
Yeah.
A guy that supposedly, and I mean this with all due respect to Deshaun Watson, supposedly had some inappropriate affairs with his massage therapist, allegedly. Had 16 for 29 and 154 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. But the star of the show really was in this game, had nothing to do with the passing game at all. It was definitely Nick Chubb, who just put out a barn burner of an ass whooping. And excuse my language for all your glossy ears out there, but that was just ridiculous to watch. And I mean that with all sincerity with sports fans. As a guy that watches football regularly, to see arguably, the runner-up in the AFC get shellacked in this manner by a team that's going to finish in the bottom of the barrel in the division is scary. Will they bounce back? Hopefully so. But while I'm going down to this tangent about the AFC here, as a Patriots fan, okay, we took a tough loss against the Spiegels. I mean the Eagles, a.k.a. the Turdy Birds. We only lost to the Eagles by 5 points. And I, as a consolation, as a fan, I was extremely impressed not only by what I saw in the pregame and the halftime with the Tom Brady celebration, which I'll allude to and talk about here in a second, but the offensive side of the ball for the New England Patriots did something that I, as a fan, am really excited about. And that is score points and throw the ball and run the ball and have a very good offensive side of the scheme, which we did not have last year because Matt Patricia, who is a defensive coach and special teams guy, was calling the plays. So Bill O'Brien's effect is insurmountable when it comes to what we're about to experience here in the Patriot fandom. But that wasn't the highlight reel of the game. The highlight reel was watching a man that's arguably, Chris, and I know you hate me to say this, the greatest player to ever put on a pair of pads comes back to Foxborough. And Chris, I know it hurts your soul for me to even say these things because, you know, you are an anti-Tom Brady person. But the man comes back, rings a lighthouse, has a good time with his family. Celebration, obviously, he gets the announcement to being inducted to the Patriot Hall of Fame, which he's rightfully should have an entire floor and pretty much half the house should belong to him. Because basically Gillette Stadium is the house that he built, just like we used to say that Yankee Stadium is the house that Jeter built. So that was the cool part about me as a fan. Well, I'll let you go into the NFC here in a minute, but if you go through the other AFC games, the other takeaway I think that is pretty remarkable is that the Raiders beat the Broncos. The big highlight that I think a lot of fans are really excited about is that the Chargers and the Dolphins game played out the way it did with Tua Tagovailoa coming back and really putting out a clinic, him and the cheetah known as Tyreek Hill having a field day. And that was a pretty exciting situation. But realistically, the AFC now, with this result of what happened with Aaron Rodgers and a lot of other things, it's going to be a toss-up, I believe, now going forward on who actually is going to win that conference. Now, I don't believe that the Bengals are going to be able to go down the stretch and win. And I truly believe, Chris, that the Patriots now can actually really have an opportunity here to win that division. The Buffalo Bills, the Beals, as they like to call the Beals, are not as strong as they once were. The Zach Wilson conversation will continue, but the Jets are going to have to prove themselves. The AFC East now is a wide open division now, and I think that's going to be exciting. The AFC North, or I'm sorry, is it AFC North? Yeah, it is. That's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. And until they otherwise let that one go, the AFC West is still the Chiefs. So the NFC, though, man, I'll let you allude to this, but you had enough games where I'm as surprised as anyone is about the Dallas Cowboys. But I'll let you go into it, buddy.
Yeah, so we'll start with some of the Sunday games. Obviously, we'll start with the Bucks and the Vikings. The Bucks winning kind of a surprise winning on the road with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, squeaking out a win over I think a team that everyone's kind of originally kind of picked the Vikings to win the NFC North. My Carolina Panthers with rookie quarterback Bryce Young had few flashes of brilliance on Sunday, but when it came down to it, Bryce Young threw he threw two interceptions, and then the defense at the end kind of fell apart, and unfortunately, my Carolina Panthers did lose there on Sunday to the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder looked decent. I think right now that division is really kind of wide open still. I truly do believe that, but I also you look at it from the perspective of what's going to happen here. Long term. Kyle Pitts played his first game as an Atlanta Falcon, and had one big catch there at the end of the game. Jesse Bates, who was the NFC Player of the Week, had two interceptions for Atlanta as well. So all around a good day if you're a fan of the Dirty Birds in Atlanta there, as they take the first of the divisional games there against the Panthers. I'll say the Redskins / football team / Commanders pulling out a win against the Cardinals. I mean, a lot of people are saying the Cardinals tanking out for the first overall pick next year. I mean, it's kind of hard to say, 1 week into the season, but clearly the Kyler Murray quarterback situation is not progressing anywhere. So Washington pulls out a victory there. Touched on the 49ers, obviously beating the Steelers and stuff. The Saints with Derek Carr, first game in the Big Easy, pulling out a win over the Titans. The Titans, I think Ryan Tannehill, he's just kind of a mid quarterback, if you want to use a term that the millennials or the Gen Zers use. He's just kind of there. Saints pull out a victory there in the Superdome. Rams and the Seahawks. I think a lot of talk was how good what were the Rams going to look like this year. But they pull out a victory there. Geno Smith, obviously a journeyman quarterback. You kind of get what you expect there with Seattle. I think it'd be hard for him to continue that in the year two. Jordan Love, first start for the Packers, pulls out a pretty decisive win over the Bears, who we know stink. So really kind of thought it'd be a closer game, but if the Packers once again continue to have a hold of Chicago, and then obviously the most telltale sign of the weekend was Sunday Night Football with the Dallas Cowboys going into MetLife Stadium and laying a trouncing on the New York Football Giants, 40-0. I mean, as I told people this week, if the Cowboys continue to play like that, I mean, Dak Prescott could be the most overpaid game manager in football history, because he really didn't have to do a whole lot when your defense creates that many turnovers, and the run game was solid with Tony Pollard as well. So, Daniel Jones was awful. He was 15-28, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley didn't do much. I mean, we look at the Giants and you're like, what in tarnation just happened there? So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in week 2 as things continue in the NFC.
I just think, man, the Cowboys, obviously living in Dallas, the Cowboys are, obviously everyone's thinking that they're going to go to the Super Bowl every year here, but it's to watch them do that on Sunday Night Football. I go, oh. And by the way, it wasn't like an offense of this, like, every time they got the ball, they went down the field. It was literally a game of complete utter dominance, and that's what it was. It was the kicking game or the kick defense game. They had a blocked field goal. They had a blocked punt. They had a blocked strip sack fumble for a touchdown. I mean, it was literally it was really a complete game, if you ask me. Like, the offense wasn't on the side of the football, all that, and like, it wasn't all that great to watch. But when they were, it was two very key guys. It was Tony Pollard, who's on a franchise tag, and CeeDee Lamb, who's arguably one of the best receivers in the game of NFL. He obviously came out of Oklahoma. Jerry Jones liked what he looked like. They did the same thing with Des Bryant when he came to the NFL too. He was an Oklahoma State guy. So they obviously have a pedigree for drafting well out of college. There's no question about that. It's just, what are you going to do with the guy when he gets to the point of contract years? Jerry Jones is notoriously cheap in the running back situation. That's why Zeke Elliott's now a Patriot, which Zeke Elliott did a pretty fine job. And I mean this, like, I know I'm going to talk about the Patriots fandom here, but I need to talk about this because the guy in a complimentary role of football only had 7 carries for 29 yards, and Ramondre Stevenson had 12 for 25. The more productive back was a Zeke Elliott. So that shows that he was going back to his kind of his roots there a little bit of being, a 4 to 5 yard a carry back. So do I think he's going to be solid? Absolutely. Do I think the Cowboys hold this down the stretch? Time will tell. I think arguably, though, the NFC is more secure in what we thought it was going to be, throughout the year.
Yeah.
Than we thought. I mean, the AFC now, with the New York Jets situation with Aaron, that changes everything. And that goes into week 2 now, because the week 2 games, which, Chris, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but it seems like Amazon's got a little bit better choice of games this year on the Thursday night games. We're not dealing with like the 4 and 12 teams playing on Thursday night now. So we're getting a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, you want to real quick? You want to run through each of the games and make our choices here?
We'll do that. I'm doing that. I just pulled it up here for Thursday night games. Everyone wants to talk about it. It's the Vikings and Eagles. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are a 6-point favorite. They're playing in Philadelphia, so I'm going to say the Eagles will definitely win that one for sure. I'm not sure if they're going to cover the spread, but I think they could definitely win that game. So I'll let you. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll take the Eagles. Take the Eagles in that one.
All right. So going on the Sunday games now. All right, the Sunday day games anyway. We got Packers, Falcons, Raiders, Bills, Ravens, Bengals, Seahawks, Lions, Chargers, Titans, Bears, Buccaneers, Chiefs, Jaguars, Colts, Texans, Niners, Rams, Giants, Cardinals, Jets, Cowboys, football team, Broncos, and for Sunday night football this week is the Dolphins and the Patriots. And we have 2 Monday night games this week with the Saints and Panthers and the Browns and the Steelers on Monday night. So, also arguably, Chris, I don't think we talked about it, but the whole ESPN charter debacle kind of pissed everybody off, but I'm glad it got resolved, but it didn't get resolved enough to watch some college football on Saturday. But it was, that's called big companies fighting it out for no reason. But okay, so going into the list of this nonsense, the Packers versus the Falcons, I'm going to go with the Pack here. I'm going to go with the Go Pack Go. I'm not sure what you think there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Packers. There, part of me did want to take the Falcons, as much as I don't like the Falcons. Just coming off of
it's okay to be a fandom. It doesn't hurt your feelings.
Playing at home, playing at home. Yeah, I think I'll roll with the Packers.
All right, we got Raiders and Bills. Who you got?
Raiders and Bills.
Bills are at home.
Take the Bills.
You know what? I'm going to say this. There's no chance in heck that the Bills are going to cover a 9.5 point line here. So I'm going to say the Raiders just for the sake of ha-has here. Because I'm not a fan. I'm going to be a fandom here. I'm going to be anti-Buffalo Bills. Here's a good one. Ravens versus the Bengals.
I can't see Joe Burrow laying an egg 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to take the Bengals.
I'm going to go differently on this one. I'm going to go Ravens here. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson.
Damn. Okay.
I am not a fan. Like, listen, I like Joe Burrow as a player,
Yeah.
but the Ravens are the Ravens, dude. That's probably going to be the game of the 12 all the games that are being played at 12 o'clock. That's probably going to be the game that I might want to watch more and forget NFL Red Zone.
Yeah.
But Seahawks and Lions, I'm going to go with the new Detroit Lions.
Yep. I agree.
And we got the Chargers and the Titans here. Here's the best part about Detroit on that game, by the way, Chris, is a 5-point favorite. When was the last time you saw the Detroit Lions a favorite long term in a season? Anything? It's crazy.
It's been a while. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. But I also could see it being a trap game for them. You come off a huge win on the road, and you have to go home and play your home opener. I could see you laying an egg, but I don't see Detroit lose. I don't see Geno Smith going into Detroit and winning there. So
yeah, I hear you loud and clear on that one, bud. All right, so we got the Chargers, San Diego. Sorry, I mean LA, whatever you want to call yourselves now. Okay, versus the Titans. You're calling this one, bud.
I'm gonna go Chargers.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that one too, because I hate to say it, but I think the Tennessee Titans are a lame duck this year.
Yeah,
with Ryan Tannehill quarterback. Then we get the Chicago Bears, or better known as Bear Down, all right, the Bears, and going against the Tampa Bay, as you fans allude to, the Buccaneers. What do you got?
I'm gonna take Tampa.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tampa too. All right. So this is gonna be the fun game. You talk about trap games. Here's a trap game for you. The Clown Show Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs in Jacksonville, Florida, with the Kansas City Chiefs being a 3.5-point favorite.
Man,
that's a bookie trap game all day long,
Trevor, it's either going to get good Trevor Lawrence or bad Trevor Lawrence. You can get Trevor Lawrence who, could throw four touchdowns, or Trevor Lawrence who throws 3 interceptions. Man, I would imagine that Kansas City is going to get Travis Kelce back this week, right? I haven't looked.
I'm not sure. They haven't ruled him out yet. But I mean, he has up until last Thursday. He played almost 8 years without missing a game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would say he's probably due back. If he is due back, he's probably on a pitch count. Of some kind. I don't think he's gonna be a full back 100%.
It'd be hard to see Kansas City lose 2 in a row. I got to go Kansas City, but I think that if Travis Kelce plays, I think they easily cover the spread. If he doesn't, I think it's going to be close.
I'll say this, man. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars on this game.
Jesus,
I understand.
What?
I gotta go barn. Listen, I'm not impressed by the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
I mean,
for them to lose,
one game.
Okay, huh?
It's been one game.
And listen, if I'm going to go on a limb here, It's one of those things where, okay, arguably, okay, I'll go into this reasoning here in a second, is that you had Chris Jones have a holdout, okay, and they sign him back this week after losing a 1-point game to a team that barely has beaten 500, okay, that played lights out against them on Thursday night, which arguably is a short week in the NFL world. Arguably a short week. You have been practicing, though, for the entire month of August to get you to that point of opening game, and you threw that up, and even if Travis Kelce was or wasn't there, they only put on 20 points. That tells me there's something wrong here. Travis Kelce, man, I think the NFL teams, if the Jaguars come with a really strong defense here, just like you saw with Detroit. Detroit pressured Patrick Mahomes more than he's been pressured in a long, long time. The last time someone did that to Patrick Mahomes was? It was against the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is now the head coach, blitzed him so many times during the Super Bowl that man probably couldn't even figure out what name of the week it was. Like I'm telling you, the pressure game to the Patrick Mahomes is the deciding factor on whether or not he's going to have a successful year. I think the Jaguars can pull it off. I think they got enough great. They got Calvin Ridley, who, bar none, I know he has some issues off the field, and he's just returning. But still, phenomenal player. They have a great. Listen, I am not longer. Listen, I had to pull my inner former student. You know, we used to be good friends with a Jacksonville Jaguar fan back in high school. I got to pull him out the woodwork here. You know, you got a great team there in Jacksonville. I think it's like you said, it's Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde there on what Trevor Lawrence does. But I think they got a legit shot here. And the 3.5 points, that tells me the line, the bookies here are really, really unsure about the Travis Kelce thing.
Yeah.
And that 3.5 points, that tells me a lot. And that's really does. It does tell me a lot there. Now, the Colts and the Texans, I'm sorry, I gotta go with the Colts here. I know it hurts my soul, you know, to talk about Colts in a positive light, but you know, the Texans are definitely a rebuilding team, and I don't see them. You know, CJ Stroud he's a young kid. He's gonna play well. Are they gonna? Hell, who knows? The Colts might throw up an egg here, but Anthony Richardson's a beast. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah. I think I'll roll with the Colts too.
We got the Niners and Rams. I'm gonna go with the Niners here.
Brock Purdy.
He's pretty good. Okay, pretty good. Figure this out. This line on that game is 8 points favorites to the Niners. 8 points. That's insane. With that much offensive weaponry, that game is going to be a high scoring game, dude. It's going to be insane.
Yep.
You got the Giants and the Cardinals. Sorry, I'm to stay at home. Just stay at home. I'm going to say this. It's going to hurt my soul to even cheer for this team, but I'm going to go with the Giants on this one. You know, it's just I can't cheer for the Giants, dude. But I have in this game. This game is a barn burner of nothing burgers here.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think Big Blue. I think Big Blue will win out in the desert.
And then we got on the craziness of the New York Jets versus the Cowboys here. The Cowboys are a 9-point favorite and playing here in Dallas at their, I believe, home opener. I could be wrong. It's a home opener. I'm sorry. The Cowboys aren't. I don't see them covering that 9 points, but I see them winning.
Oh, come on. As much as the pain, the Cowboys are going to cover the spread there.
9 points against the Jets with Zach Wilson? You never know.
Yeah, I think they cover the spread.
That's where I went on a limb earlier. Hell, there's your limb for you.
Yeah.
There's your limb for you.
Cowboys cover the spread. And
if not, we're going to be like the Buffalo Wild Wings moment.
Take care of the Jets.
Oh, Jesus. Just, hurts my soul to hear you say that. The Washington football team, Commanders / Redskins, whoever you want to call yourselves, versus the Broncos. I'm going to go Commanders on this one.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just,
Yeah, I mean.
It is what it is. And then you got
Russell.
I just don't see Russell
a little
Wilson
better last week, but he still looks like trash. So.
Oh, yeah, he looks like trash.
Yeah.
All righty. So then the last game, actually, the last game for the Sunday night football games is the Patriots and the Dolphins, which me being a Patriots fan here, the Miami Dolphins are a 3-point favorite here. And I definitely see them covering that. We're going to lose to the Dolphins here if we don't figure out Tua Tagovailoa here somehow. And they're playing in Foxborough. It's not going to be pretty.
Yep.
Saints, your Panthers going against the Who Dat and
Charlotte.
And Charlotte. Let's see who's going to win that one, bud.
I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna roll Carolina. I mean, they got to win this game. If they start the season 0-2, it's basically a wash at that point. So,
well, here's the crazy part about it: the Saints are a 3-point favorite and with a 39.5 point over under.
Jeez.
So you figure that out. That tells you everything the bookies need to know.
Yeah.
And the last game here, I'm just gonna before we close this out is the Browns versus the Steelers. I'm gonna go with the Brownies.
Yep.
Keep the homer going.
Yep.
And have some fun there. I don't know what your view on that one is.
Yeah. No, Browns.
Yeah, that was quick and easy, right? Only about 17 games to go through in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, you guys realize first 2 games the Steelers have played are home games. Everyone else.
Well, the Patriots are. This is the second game too, so the Patriots
too.
are at home.
I was looking at it, following. I'm like, wow, everyone just would play first week. It was everyone swapped except for those two. So I think so.
Yeah, I mean, also the Bengals as well are playing at home. That's a three-fer, and then it's the 3 teams stayed at home this week.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it was awesome talking about the NFL in the week 1. We got a strong week 2 coming around the corner next week. Recap. NFL's in wide, great spirits, and it should be a national holiday every week, and that it is. So feel free to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff on social media. Chris, thank you for joining me. We're going to do another episode here in a little while. We're going to talk about the NASCAR playoff cutoff here at Bristol Motor Speedway on the next episode. Feel free to join us for that. Chris, thank you for joining me.
See you next time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. See you next time, bud.